Here we go. Part 4, Maila Nurmi, Punk Vampira.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm so excited, but also sad. I don't want it to end. I love her.
I know. I feel like there's a lot. There's still a lot. There's always a lot. What a life.
What a life. Hello, and welcome to Dead and Kind of Famous, where we dig into the life stories of dead folks who enjoyed a touch or two of fame in their time
and now reside permanently in the Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
I'm Marissa Rivera, and I know nothing. But I do know that your daughter's favorite sweet treat is the banana bread I bake her.
It is. It very much is. She's obsessed with it. She had a monkeys and banana themed birthday this weekend for her second birthday.
She did. It was really cute.
And that banana bread was a whole activity in and of itself. If someone was eating it, she was interested. You know, she wanted
She's stealing bites.
Yep. She was stealing bites. She's such a bite stealer.
Love her.
Yes.
Little munchkin.
And I'm Courtney Blomquist, and I know way too much, but I don't know. What don't I know? I don't know, how to send a fucking invitation or to text people from my computer. And I think I just don't know how to juggle this is really what it is. I don't know how to juggle having a child's birthday party, which is actually extremely involved.
Any party planning is involved.
Yes, with the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's even if I think I'm doing it right, I'm going to fuck something up because I have too much going on. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
You know.
She's a mom on the go.
Yeah, but I fucked up somebody's invitation. It didn't go through. And I was so...
It was like an Apple to Android situation.
Yeah,
computer to... But it's Apple computer to... It's because Apple is the devil. I'm going to say it. I said it. I'm sorry. I said it. And I have all Apple products.
I know, I was going to say...
I have all
Where's
Apple
your brand
products.
loyalty?
I have. Listen, they're not paying to sponsor this. I'll tell you that much.
That's true.
They're not paying to sponsor this. They've never cast me in one single commercial. You have to buy my loyalty.
That's fair. I'll accept that. Okay.
Yeah, it's the whole Apple Android interface war thing that, we didn't ask to be a part of that. And here we are, pawns
in it. And it's true. It doesn't tell you right away that it doesn't go through. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it's just let's just wait long enough for you to not look anymore and not
for
notice.
Your ADHD to take over, and you've moved on to another task.
It's not even ADHD. I just had to move on to another task. I had to keep going.
Because she's a mom on the go.
That's right. I'm a mom on the go. This is the song that you and Ellen have come up with this week. Our dear friend Ellen, who also lives in this compound that we have here.
This compound of friendship.
Yeah, this cult. So
speaking of,
yeah,
if Vampira started a cult,
I'd join. That would be the easiest cult to join ever.
That's so fun.
Yeah, I'd follow her right into her grave. I'd snuggle up to her corpse. That's what I do.
That's right. Under her hot, beautiful.
Yeah. I wonder what her skeleton looks like after she trained her waist like that. It's probably distorted.
Probably.
Yeah. But anyway.
Not to be disrespectful, but.
No, but she knows.
God.
Yeah.
Her waist was.
It's impossible.
Do we have a measurement?
I think it was 17 inches.
It's smaller than my thigh.
That's smaller than what's that was the Gone with the Wind measurement, I think, when she's bragging about her waist, which is, by the way, with a corset, of course, but it was 18 inches, I think, so it's even smaller than that. So
I just audibly swallowed.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I can't breathe for you.
Seriously, that's bigger than my thigh, and I am a 5'2" petite lady.
Yeah, and honestly, we're gonna get into it, but she kind of paid a price for all of that. So
yeah, usually do price for skinniness, a price for fame,
for beauty,
a price for beauty.
Yes, pain is beauty, and beauty is pain. But this is our final episode of Maila Nurmi's story, and I'm calling it Punk Vampira, and you shall all see why. You're not going to see why right away. Don't judge me for this title within the first, 25 minutes of this podcast, because I feel like we're not going to get to the point about that yet, but we will. All right.
Okay.
So
all good things come with time.
Yes, that's right. So, all right. So let's just jump in right to where we left off. When we last left you, Sophie, Mila's mother,
yes,
had died. She basically, that woman, I think, worked herself to death. I finally had to quit working. Yeah, I finally had to leave my job because my body won't function anymore. And now my body just actually doesn't function anymore. That's what she did.
You know what? I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that deeply.
That you'll work until you die?
No, but that my body has literally physically stopped me from working.
Oh, yeah.
You know that.
Oh, yeah. And I feel, again, I think you're going to relate. I don't want to, I'm just going to hide it for now.
Let's not jump ahead. Oh
okay.
My gosh.
So 2 months prior to her death, to Sophie's death, Maila had appeared on Queen for a Day. And this is a TV show. I actually heard about it on another podcast called Classy, which is like about classism in the country, or like class as a concept. And Queen for a Day was like an old TV series in the 50s and 60s, I want to say, where it was like they would basically have people show up and like talk about how terrible their life was, pretty much, to compete for whatever stupid prize that was, to be queen for a day, because it's like, oh, look at all these sad people. That's pretty much what it was.
So it was like the precursor to reality television.
Yes, but it was really gross. So like, and so is reality television. Yeah. It's true. But this feels more predatory to me somehow, because it's like, you'll get a prize. Like, I don't know.
What kind of prize did she get?
I don't think she, I think she was just like,
she didn't win Queen of the Day.
I think actually she was not on as a contestant. I think she was just on as like a featured guest. So I think because I don't have a ton of details about this, but yeah, she didn't have to like talk about how much her life sucked. I don't think she was at that place quite yet.
Okay.
So... but Sophie, the point is that Sophie had tagged along for the filming. And so for at one point, she got to see Maila on live television. So that was like her little thing to kind of take away from it. Like, she kind of got to see me in character doing my thing. So that made her feel better. But basically, like, we also think, she worked herself to death, but it's also the years of alcohol abuse and her heart really just gave out.
That'll do it.
Yeah. It's poison. So. Maila moved to a new apartment for a fresh start off Santa Monica Boulevard, and there was still a faint trickle of gig work rolling through. She was a guest star on a drama series called Playhouse 90.
The Range.
Yes, where she earned the under 5 line rate of $108.50 plus 10%.
You know what that 10% is for?
Tell us.
The 10% is for the agent. That's the agent fee. Yeah, so she got to collect that herself.
She got to just take it. For once, it benefited her to not have an agent on this one job.
I mean, it's $10.85.
You're right. She got an extra $10.
Hey.
Don't spend it all in one place, Maila.
Maybe that might have been gas for 2 months.
I don't think she had a car.
God damn it, Maila.
There's never any mention of this woman having a car.
That's right. Just her like rolling around in what's his name's car.
Yeah, in the hearse.
In the hearse.
Yes. So also as Vampira, she emceed a banquet for Jack Benny. Like, I don't know. She just did little gigs here and there.
Yeah.
Then the woman who claimed to be married to Dink without actually being married, allegedly.
I cannot believe we are still talking about this man.
About Dink.
How?
So she didn't. We're talking. Yeah. Maila, I gotta say, if you're listening, I feel like
there in the
horror heavens.
In the horror heavens.
We love you, but also like the reoccurring characters of shit men that just they're speaking of acting roles and whatnot, their arc is too long. They needed to die in the first episode they were presented. So I'm annoyed. But yeah, anyway, Dink is pretty much gone. I'm just bringing him up to say
Maila.
Yes.
Who had claimed to be married to Dink this whole time.
Right. Well, not that, up until the relationship ended.
Right.
But she was never actually married to him. She allegedly did actually marry a man named John Brinkley, but it is alleged. in the book written by her niece, Sandra, that we are referencing exclusively pretty much, she states that they were secretly allegedly married on March 10th, 1958. But from the sounds of it, John could have been a lover, but he also could have been a friend who was convenient to marry for whatever reason. It's
what
kind
reasons
of
is it convenient to marry?
I mean, in that day and age, there could have been a lot more, because I feel like
taxes,
living with someone, even if you just like were trying to share a space, like you couldn't unless you were married at that point in time, like stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
It was a different time.
Maybe this was like a lavender marriage.
Something, I don't know. Well, there's another one. Yeah. Well, I'm jumping ahead of myself.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is so exciting.
So
I really hope it was a lavender marriage.
I know we don't know a ton about this guy, but I like a lot of the connections actually. So John was a B movie actor.
Do you know what a lavender marriage is?
Yes. Oh, yes, I
do.
do.
Should we talk about it?
Yes, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it for a second.
Okay, Marissa, you explain it. I do know, but you explain
the
it.
listeners might not know.
You're right. You're absolutely right. I would listen back on this and be so annoyed that I didn't explain it. So go ahead.
Okay, so a lavender marriage was when a gay man and a straight woman married each other, knowing full well that he was gay and she was straight, and there wasn't going to be like anything sexual or anything, but they would kind of have this companionship and all of the protections and good stuff that you could have about marriage. And you would basically like marry your bestie.
Yeah, totally. Why
totally
not?
Marry your bestie and like be like in an open marriage. It's very progressive.
It's very progressive and also just very safe. I feel like that's the way to be safe at that time.
Safety in numbers.
Yes.
Safety under the law.
Right, exactly. So like somebody can suspect something about you, whatever, I'm married. And
I'm married. Yeah. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah,
What you gonna do about it? I have a fancy lavender marriage. What you gonna do about it?
I'm just very, very fashion conscious. And
that's right.
Yeah. So
and my wife
doesn't pick out my clothes.
She sure doesn't.
I do it myself.
I do it for her. And she and I cuddle all the time, platonically, on the couch that we share in
and talk
our
shit
home.
about people.
Honestly, we'd make a great lavender marriage.
Yes, we would. We absolutely would. Okay.
So who is John?
John was a B movie actor who had been in several Roger Corman movies. And Roger Corman was like, if you don't know who he is, he's like a famous like B movie director. But I believe, hold on, I want to just fact check myself right here.
Check it.
But I believe that Roger Corman was the director / auteur of the original Little Shop of Horrors, like before it became a musical. Yes. And Jack Nicholson was in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So I think he plays one of the patients for the dentist.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's one of his really, really early smaller roles.
So
That's
like,
fun.
so this is like, somewhat legit. I would say.
Yeah. The most legit man she's ever been with.
No, it's a guy who's been in Roger Corman movies.
Jesus.
But the movies he was in were called A Bucket of Blood and Teenage Doll. And all of this seems very on brand for Maila.
Very on brand.
Yes. To have any kind of relationship with him, really, because his films seem like films she would have featured on her own show years before. So within a year, Maila was engaged again to a man named Carlton Carpenter. She met him at a party. So I'm kind of like, I don't know if they got married. I don't know what happened. There's very little trail with this.
Okay.
So
little to no paper trail.
Yeah. All I know really is that there's an alleged marriage, and that's just in this book. And so I don't have much more than that really to back that up.
I mean, if they were married and divorced, there should be a paper trail.
I'm sure. Yeah, maybe I don't know. She might have just gotten tired because Maila had so many journals and she's like, I guess I'll just read this. And I get it, girl. 'Cause I've just been reading your book and I'm just kind of like, damn, what do I choose to talk about and not? Because there's a lot. Anyway, so.
No, you mean Maila, her niece.
Her niece, Sandra. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's right. The book about Maila written by her niece. Within a year, Maila was engaged again to a man named Carlton Carpenter. She met him at a party where she was, quote, champagne drunk and ready to embarrass the friends that brought her there. Maila writes,
Now, am I going to disgrace them by hanging from the chandelier by my knees again? No. Here's an arm. I'll hang from it. Hey, catch my feet. He did. I put my hands on his shoes. We danced. Upside down was I. He threw me around like a beanbag. He was a marvelous dancer. I'm Carlton Carpenter, he said. I stepped back a pace and squinted. I saw a tall, skinny silhouette. If you are, it's too good to be true, I said. But I am. Then I love you. I've always loved you. Damn.
Yes.
What?
So this
that
is
was
a
whirlwind.
Yes, an
romance.
upside down dance.
An upside down dance.
So
wow, she was very champagne drunk.
yes. So Carlton Carpenter was known for being in MGM musicals. And Maila had claimed him as her movie star crush ever since she'd seen him star in 2 Weeks with Love alongside Debbie Reynolds.
Oh my God.
He performed a song called Abba Dabba Honeymoon, and that's all it took for Maila to be over the moon.
Wow.
He was her type. Skinny with an Adam's apple. And now she'd met him in person.
With a large Adam's apple.
With a large,
right. It just sounds like you said.
Skinny with an Adam's apple. You're right.
It sounds like you're like, he was her type. A man.
A man.
A skinny man.
He was just a skinny man. Yeah, he had a large Adam's apple. And now she'd met him in person, and he literally swept her off her feet.
Literally.
However, Maila refused to give him her number right away. When he asked, she said,
"Next time. We found each other. We love each other. Don't be greedy." The cheek.
The confidence. But he didn't call right away until Maila was working her late night shift at her job at an answering service. Because apparently that's what she was doing at this time.
That was her day job / night job.
Yeah. Her coworker at the answering service had a son who was best friends with Carlton. So one night he called while she was working, and for once, the call was actually for Maila. But he'd hung up without asking her for a date or asking her for her actual phone number.
That's some shit I would do.
Yeah, that's a game. That's a little game. Or you think it's an ADHD?
I feel like I would have been like, had such a good conversation and be like so happy. Like, oh, I'm reconnected, had such a fun conversation, hung up and been like, well, shit.
I missed the whole point of that.
I missed the whole point of that, and I can't call back right away.
Yeah, now I got to play the game.
Now I got to play.
So I think that might have been, maybe that's what was going on.
Maybe.
Because a few weeks later, they saw each other at a dinner party, and he sweet-talked her, but still made no offer of a date.
He is playing games.
Or asked for her phone number.
Quit playing games with my heart, Mr. Carlton.
But somehow he acquired it anyway and called to take her out officially. They went to the keyboard club to see one of Carlton's friends sing, because he's a musical theater guy. So of course, he's got a bunch of friends who can sing. And they held hands the whole time.
Cuties.
Yes. A mutual friend was there that night and asked,
"Do I hear wedding bells for you too?"
Carlton asked Maila.
"Are you still with John Brinkley?"
Maila said,
"No." "Then there's no reason why we can't."
And again, Maila said,
"No."
All she'd said was no. And yet the next day, Maila's engagement was announced in Harrison Carroll's column.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either, but he was a popular columnist at the time.
Okay.
Well, it didn't actually say that Carlton would be marrying Maila. It said he'd be marrying Vampira. Because every single thing about her that gets published is like, it's not Maila Nurmi, it's Vampira. Like, I'm surprised anyone, I don't think most people do know her name, because everyone just thinks Vampira. At that time anyway. Nobody even knows that now. But
you should by now.
You should by now, because you're listening to this show.
That's right.
But they appeared to be very much in love. In true Los Angeles fashion, Carlton hired an astrologer to do their charts and see if they were compatible.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
It truly has never gone out of fashion.
It's always been there.
It's always been
there.
So heavy. What a heavy part of Los Angeles
culture. I know.
I know.
God. I know. I wonder how much money he spent on it. I wonder what the inflation rate on that is, because it's probably a lot. They agreed to name their future daughter Clancy. Interesting choice.
That's a cool name.
You think so?
I like it.
Okay. I think it sounds like an old man.
Yeah, that's kind of why I like it.
Okay. I mean, I would name my cat Clancy.
Yeah.
My cat baby.
Your cat Bebe? And
Yeah.
that dog named Clancy?
I like a dog named Clancy.
Ah, you heard it here first, folks. You can take that for your list.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. That's a cool name.
So they were cool. They were with it. They were like, we're gonna be unique.
Wow. They like, oh my God, they're already talking about
Baby
names.
Yeah, so they're in love. He cooked for her. He tried to impress her by taking her to a private screening of his film Fearless Fagin, in which his co-star was a lion.
Whoa.
He wanted her to know he was brave. Yes.
Oh.
But a former friend of Mila's on whom she'd always had a crush got in the way. It was Anthony Perkins.
Maila.
Anthony Perkins, the friend who was Norman Bates in Psycho. That's who that is. Yeah. We've brought him up briefly before, but like, yes, she was
right.
friends with him as well. But she did have a crush on him.
She had a crush.
Yeah, because he's also skinny with a large Adam's apple. So
she do have a type.
She got a type. He had become a very good friend to Mila's fiance. And now that Maila knew Tony, Anthony Perkins, was gay, she thought he was trying to steal her man. So she and Carlton got in a fight, and she called him a pig. And then he responded by...
No, not homophobia. Not homophobia.
Is pig a homophobic term?
No, but just because someone's gay doesn't mean that they're trying to get with,
Yeah, but like, I think... The thing is, I think it was probably a little friend jealousy too, to be honest, because like he was kind of like a dick to her. We didn't really get into that much, but he was just kind of like
he was a dick to her,
well,
and he got close to his fiance.
I don't know if he was a dick to her, or if she just really didn't know he was gay, and stuff felt like an advance sometimes when it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Oh, or like she tried to hit on him, and he like rebuffed her.
Yes, and then he would like kind of only be interested in her. He was a little bit of like a fame. Didn't feel like there was anything to talk about unless you like had a job that felt like it could elevate him, and he didn't even want to take her places if like he felt like it was an important party and stuff like that. So he was
a little gross.
So I think she kind of just doesn't trust him. So I do kind of want to give her the benefit of the doubt on this.
Okay. Let's give it to her.
Because I don't think she is homophobic. I feel like she's a counterculture queen.
That's true. That's true.
Hate.
She screams ally.
Yes.
Okay.
So I think she's just like, fuck you, I know you, and you got something going on,
right?
Because you kind of fucked me over before.
Okay.
So she thought he was trying to steal her man. So, and also like probably him hanging around more when he was kind of like buffing her off for a while, and then he's all around all the time. All of a sudden, she's like, you know what the fuck?
Yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So, but she instead of talking to him about it, she got into a fight with her fiance.
Yeah, and called him a pig. And then he responded by giving her a case of cat food wrapped up like a present on Christmas morning. And his note read,
"From your friendly neighborhood piglet." Damn.
It sounds to me like he was trying to be like, I feel like that sounds like some sort of like attempt at being a cute end to an argument. Like, oh, like, look I can be.
Yeah. Also,
like,
she has
too.
cat food. She has cats, so it's a gift for her beloved cats, who we established she
gave up a cake with Liberace to feed.
Exactly.
Yes.
So
he's feeding them.
So he's feeding her beloved.
There's other ways to look at this, Maila.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to say.
Maila.
So Maila was pissed, and she writes,
"He was a millionaire, and here I was, practically starving to death, and for Christmas, he bought me a case of cat food. The whores get the furs and sports cars. Me, I get water pistols, jewelry made from plumbing parts, and cat food."
I want to know who gave her the water pistols and the
want to know too.
Made from plumbing parts, because I'm like, that's not something you just make up.
No, that's
very specific.
Very, very specific.
But we have no reference for those things. But my God, those sound like bigger offenses, in my opinion. So she wrote him her own note.
"You and I were deliriously happy until Sinbad Perkins," her new nickname for Tony, "cruised himself into your heart and stole you away from me. It's just as well, love. You needed somebody tall. When you speak of me, and you will speak of me, you can say that Vampira is playing nightly with herself at Bailey's Lounge."
I think Bailey's Lounge was like their spot. So I don't know if she's trying to. That sounds like a masturbation reference.
I know.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past her.
Yeah, like it's a double entendre.
Yeah. She's always speaking in double entendre. To me, that's what it sounds like. Yeah. So to hell with love and back to focusing on her career.
So how short-lived was this whirlwind?
I would say like 6 months. Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah, something like that. It wasn't that long.
So she's focusing back up on her career.
But what career?
Oh, God.
Well, Maila was still seeking acting work at this time and still getting some. In 1958, she had an unaccredited role in the 1958 film Too Much, Too Soon, starring Errol Flynn. Her line was,
"We're almost out of ham sandwiches."
Which I love. Love that.
Perfect.
She followed up with some B-movie work for producer Albert Zugsmith. He wanted name recognition, so once again, she was billed as Vampira and not Maila Nurmi. Mm-hmm. She played a beatnik in his film The Beat Generation. And for once, you see her performing out of her Vampira garb.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What's a beatnik?
You don't know what a beatnik is?
No.
It's like in the 50s. In the 50s and maybe early 60s when people were, it's like the black turtleneck beret, like speaking like, poetry
Slam
over
poetry.
Yeah, kind of, but like with like a drum beat and kind of like feeling it's scatting and that kind of shit.
Okay.
And if I'm being too,
it's like jazz poets.
Yeah. I feel like I have like a whole album of like,
I thought you were gonna say phase.
Like, no, I
had a whole phase.
That
in
would
high
be
school.
so niche. But no, it was more like I don't know. I just had an album of like these old recordings of beatniks, and I don't know. It's the Jack Kerouac time, and people doing their that was the open mic of the time.
Okay,
All
right.
So, and if I'm explaining that wrong, somebody comment. Tell me that I suck. Leave more messages. Tell us what's going on.
Yes.
We see you listening. Say something. Okay.
If you hear something, say something.
Yeah. And you're hearing a lot. My God. All right. So she played a beatnik in this film. It was called The Beat Generation. And for once, you can see her performing out of her Vampira garb. In the film, her hair is blonde and cropped as it was in her day-to-day life. Mm-hmm. And she wears a sweater and jeans as she recites a poem with a rat on her shoulder and smokes a cigarette.
This is so cool.
I know. Wait, hold on. I've got a picture.
Cool. Yes.
I've got a picture. I don't think I have a recording, but I do have a picture.
Oh my God. It's so cool. And hold on. The rat, it looks like he's just like perched on her shoulder. It looks like he's singing.
Yeah, he's like
so
the Toto
cute.
of this episode.
Oh my God. She looks so good. And this rat looks so cute.
Yeah,
we have
and she's
to
just
post
like
that
smoking
in the show
a
notes.
cigarette. Yeah, I've got all the pictures from everything I got to post. Like we're gonna do a whole Maila thing. But yes, the rat does look like it's like singing on her shoulder.
Oh, so good.
And the smoke is obscuring this, but this is the point in time we're going to talk about it. But like her teeth are starting to look a little wonky. Like starting from this clip on this segment, there's signs of maybe some health, whatever, right? Because
from the not eating.
Yeah, like she's malnutrition, man, is happening. Yeah. So she also played a shopkeeper in The Big Operator with Mickey Rooney. And then she played a computer lab assistant in an exploitation film called Sex Kittens Go to College that also starred Bridget Bardot's little sister, Mijanou.
Oh, my God.
Oh, and I said here, yeah, she looks emaciated and like her teeth are decaying. It's like both of these things.
Okay.
Like it's like starting to be a thing.
Uh-oh.
So then she had another chance to perform with Liberace. I forgot about this until I'm saying it now.
No.
She had another chance to perform with Liberace and was booked to appear with him for 16 weeks in London.
A dream.
Yes. Your dream.
My dream.
Yes.
But including the Liberace part.
Yep. But just as it was with Broadway, she did not go.
No. Maila!
I know. It's like a second chance that you don't take. It's so frustrating to see somebody not take a second chance. Like, oh, what are you doing? So her niece, Sandra Niemi, the author of this book, thinks this was likely because she was beginning to struggle with her health, as we're seeing signs. But the reasons are not actually known. It's sad to know that instead of performing glamorously with Liberace in London, she had taken to cleaning the homes of her friends for 99 cents an hour to make ends meet.
Oh my God.
She writes,
maybe that's what I was meant to be. A charwoman like my mother. I am the daughter of Sophia, the Finnish chambermaid, the cleaner of Marlene Dietrich's toilet bowl. Elizabeth's bowl have no ring, they exclaimed, in Beverly Hills and Brentwood. Elizabeth was my house-cleaning name. And it was true. No rings. I cleaned the infamous Hollywood whorehouse. It was very popular with the in crowd. A famous bandleader/actor married to a top TV red-headed comedian used to arrive in his limo, have a girl, and then go off into the night. He was a $100 customer. So
I like that she's like trying to hide Desi Arnaz's.
I was just going to say, that's Desi Arnaz.
Yeah, she's trying to hide his identity in her journal. It's like, you can just say it.
Yeah,
you know,
girl.
I mean, it's being published now, of course, but like.
But we know who she's talking about.
Yeah, we know who you're talking about. You're being very clear. But her ringless toilet bowls were not keeping her afloat. But the ring that came with a marriage of convenience did for a time. Another one. Italian actor Fabrizio Mioni was looking to stay in America to continue his career and needed to be married to do so.
See, this is when marriage is convenient.
Yes. It helps him reach his goals.
Yes.
Maila found out about it from a friend and stepped up to the plate in exchange for a monthly stipend.
Okay.
Fabrizio said,
pay me to be your wife.
That's right.
That's what I'm talking about.
She's like, where can I make some money? She was hustling for a long, long time.
Damn.
So Fabrizio said,
before I married her.
I was so excited to see what you did with this. And you didn't disappoint. Keep going.
Before I married her, I had... Stop it.
Okay.
Don't look at me. Before I married her, I had to clean her up. She was a mess. I paid for her new clothes and a full beauty salon treatment, head to toe, because I knew there would be press.
Hire Marissa for all of your Italian accent work needs. It was so bad, and I loved every second of it. I loved it so much. Oh my God, I loved it.
I want to see if I can do better. Hold on.
No, oh my God, how can you do better than being that bad?
You guys can't even see it, but I'm doing like a gesture with my hand.
Oh, she's got the full Italian hand.
It's bad.
Oh,
it's
really
God.
bad.
Am I ashamed? Okay, hold on. Let me see. Before I married her, I had to clean her up. Fuck it. No. I can't.
You did it. It was great.
Did it. It's
I loved
done,
it.
and I'm
done.
sorry.
I loved it so much.
Let's just keep in mind, guys.
I thought you were going to say, let's just cut this. And I was like, never.
No. No. Just keep in mind, audience, please. This is the first time I'm reading this. My context clues are he is fresh off the boat and needing a green card marriage. So do not come for me, please.
Oh my God. I love it. This whole show is like doing a prank on you. It's so good. Anyway. So on June 20th, 1961, Maila became Maila Elizabeth Mioni.
That's beautiful.
It is kind of beautiful.
Beautiful.
And immediately...
And it's Mioni.
Mioni. I'm sorry. You're right. I should have deferred to you the pronunciation.
That's right. You should have. Italians are going to come burn me at the stake.
No. I love it. So on June 20th, 1961, Maila became Maila Elizabeth Mione.
That's correct. Keep going.
Thank you. And immediately after the ceremony, both she and Fabrizio went back to their separate homes to live their separate lives.
Wow.
Very lavender marriage-ish.
Very.
But Maila kept the last name Mione for the rest of her life.
I mean, it was cute. It's cute.
It's also like...
And it's Mione.
Mione. I'm so sorry. You're right. There was a little hand gesture with that. Mione. That's what I missed the first time. Mione.
There was a hand gesture.
There was a hand gesture.
I can't stop.
Oh, God.
You know the Italian
yeah, they
gesture?
talk with their hands.
The Italians and the Puerto Ricans is very close.
It's very close. Okay, there you go. Yeah.
So it was in me. It was in me.
Oh my God. Maila moved again to a new apartment and regularly filled her home with circus acrobats, drugged out painters, hustlers, and any other misfits that happened to be around.
All right.
She had built an unstable flop house of cards, and it was about to collapse.
Ay, ay, ay.
In 1962, she found out that her father had died.
Okay.
She could not attend the funeral and mourned his death alone without the consolation of family members or real friends.
I wonder why she couldn't attend. She couldn't afford to travel there, or
I think so. Yeah, I think she was very broke for a long time, and I think this was in this moment. I mean, she's cleaning houses for 99 cents an hour. So her stepmother inherited all of her father's money, so that did her no financial favors. And then in 1964, she granted Fabrizio Mione a divorce with a final payout of $100 to her. And then the phony friends disappeared, and Maila was alone.
For a while there, I thought I was Niños. What?
I don't know, but you have to say it.
I don't know what this is.
Ninos de l'Enclos, reincarnate. Let's look it up.
Yeah.
Let's see.
French, Italian?
Ninon is what it says. So I think she didn't spell it right in her journal, but it's Ninon de Enclos. I think it might be French. Okay. And Ninon d'Enclos, also spelled Ninon,
Nino.
was a French author, courtesan, and patron of the arts.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think she had like a salon of sorts going.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
For a while there, I thought I was Ninon de l'Enclos, reincarnate. Opened up my wings and let the young chicks nuzzle in my down. Ninon de l'Enclos, no more. No more actress, no more gypsy. I sit quietly at 40, no more noses under my wing. The down wore away. In 1953, I went to a masquerade party and the costume I wore stuck to me. I was a professional vampire or something. For 11 years, I tried to scrape it off, peel it off, burn it off, with acid. Finally, I gave up trying.
Yeah. So she's
so sad. Yeah, she was just like, this is who I've become. I cannot escape it.
Yeah, because it's like there's people at this point aren't sticking. Yeah. You know, like she's
all alone with her character that she created.
Yeah. And it's like it hasn't served her. It's like feeling like a curse, I think is what I'm hearing from that. In 1965, when she had finished a hard day of cleaning houses, she returned home to find a familiar face waiting for her on her stoop. It was Chuck the fuck Beatles. Another one of these fucking men.
Dink and Chuck.
They're just circling around, showing up again.
God, they always come back.
They
always circle back around.
Although he wasn't so familiar looking anymore. It had been 8 years and he had changed.
He stunned me. A Republican crew-cut killer eyes, fascistic looking. He wore a gray business suit and a wristwatch. He looked like he owned slaughterhouses. And he had a car, a red one.
He said he would love her, protect her, and never again abandon her. And she bought it hook, line, and sinker.
Girl.
And sinker. He's going to sink you, Maila.
Oh, my gosh. But I mean, if you're in dire straits.
Yeah, she's in a low. He caught her in the right moment.
Yeah, she caught her in a low, and he had all of these things to show her.
Oh, yeah.
That he had money and she needed it.
And I think it grossed her out, but she also needed it. That's what I'm hearing. Like, ugh, a red car, but also, where did you get the money for the car? You know? They reunited and hatched a plan to capitalize on the influx of shops that were popping up around Mila's apartment on Melrose Ave. Her place was on the ground floor and had a large front window. So they decided to turn it into a store by day and living quarters by night. Chuck sold his flashy car to do so. Okay. And then he put the money into the business. They were working on it together, and for a time, Mila was very happy. They called it Sheer Madness Object d'Art, which is a terrible business name. But the business didn't do well. Surprise, surprise. And Chuck went back to his old shitty ways. He started stealing items from other stores and brazenly wanted to sell them in their own store.
Oh my God, what an idiot.
Yep. And it soon became apparent to Mila that Chuck hadn't changed at all, actually. He had been stealing for quite some time at this point to support a growing drug habit.
Again?
Yes.
I mean, it never stopped.
Yes. He wore his hair conservatively and flashed his expensive stolen watch to make it appear that he'd had money so he would never be suspected. Mila said,
I felt deeply defiled. He didn't know me from gutter people. I didn't know how to steal, screw, or push dope for a living, and I wasn't about to learn.
Integrity.
That's right. She never... Her teeth weren't falling out because of meth, people.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's just say that.
She had her lines that she would not cross. So she was scared of him and wanted him to leave, so she barricaded herself in the bathroom and refused to come out for days. He finally flushed his stash down the toilet and agreed to get clean by heading to a place called the Church of Synanon. Have you heard of Synanon?
No. Is this a cult?
Yes, it's a cult.
Okay.
So now, yeah, if you haven't
heard, the Church of Scientology and the Church of Synanon sound oddly similar.
Every time I hear about it, though, I always think of Cinnabon, and I'm like, I would join just because it sounds like
another cult you would easily get.
I would easily join. All you'd have to do is say it's called Synanon, and I would say, "Can I have a Cinnabon then?" And they'd say yes, and I'd say, "All right, I'll come inside." Yeah,
sure.
Sounds good.
Smells good in here.
Smells great. Yeah. So it was a cult. They touted themselves as a drug rehab clinic run by former alcoholic Charles Dieterich. By 1965, it was less of a rehab and more of junkies helping other junkies overcome addictions, like that kind of situation. But they also all shaved their heads at one point, were forced into relationships with people that, it's a bigger rabbit hole than we have time for right now, to be frank.
Because this is not his story.
It's not his story. And also, it's just that's a whole thing. People do entire podcasts about Synanon. So go listen to them. You can go down the rabbit hole from here. But Chuck went there. So we're saying that. Mm-hmm. And he didn't even stay because he said it was all
bullshit and bad vibes.
And honestly, from everything I've heard, he was probably right. But also from everything I know about Chuck, he couldn't have found a spot he deserved to be at more.
Yeah, but also for him to say that it was that means that it was really bad.
Yeah. It was weird. It was
Yeah.
It was a cult. So Mila didn't know what to do when he came back. I don't think she wanted him to come back. Mm-hmm. But all she knew was that she needed him to be gone. So she simply lied and said,
"The cops are here looking for you,"
without knowing if he'd actually done anything. But she had a pretty good hunch. He immediately panicked and started packing, saying,
"I'm sick. Oh, I'm sick. I can't tell you what's wrong, but it's the worst thing that could be. Pray for me."
And then he drove off. He just drove off.
Oh my God.
So clearly whatever he did was real fucked.
Real fucked. So
he drove off.
What do you think?
I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, if
it's the worst thing,
when I killed someone, is the worst thing.
I think kid stuff.
Really?
Yes.
Oh shit! My brain didn't even go there.
That to me is worse.
I'm gonna say something that I feel like, I don't know if this is true or not, and I'm sad if it is, but I feel like I don't know how many people got caught for that kind of thing back then.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
But I don't even know how much they prosecuted people for it. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be really wrong about that. I
hope you're wrong.
I really hope I'm wrong too.
But I don't. But I believe it. It's.
But that's why I'm kind of like, was it in his head the worst thing? Because to me, he's a selfish piece of shit. So I think the worst thing would be something that's going to put him in jail for a really long time.
Like selling a kid for drugs.
Damn.
Or access to a kid.
You take so many acting classes and you can tell. Like your like worst case scenario imagination is like very strong. Mine is weakened because I'm trying to protect myself from all the shit that's anyway,
you can't think about that.
Yeah.
You can't think about that shit. You think murder, I think sex trafficking.
Okay, they're both really bad. Something really bad. Yes. He did something really bad.
Oh my God.
So he drove off, he wrote letters, he sent money for a time, and then, he didn't anymore. And that was the end of that. Yet another disappointment in the form of a man.
At least she didn't marry him.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At least she didn't legally tie herself to...
If she even married either one of those guys, I mean, I guess she did marry Fabrizio. Like, and then I don't know if she married the other guy.
That was like the smartest decision involving a man she ever made.
Her actual marriages don't feel like marriages don't feel like the worst thing. They weren't the things that fucked her
legal marriages.
Yeah. Not the Dink marriage was a
yeah.
That was a whatever that was.
Like we're married in spirit.
Dumb. So she reopened her shop after he'd left and renamed it Vampira's Attic. Much better name.
Mm-hmm.
But she never reopened her heart. She was 42 and she decided to remain celibate for the rest of her life from that point on.
No.
Yeah.
You don't. Oh.
And I really do feel like you'll see in the story, it's almost like this is the turning point. Like to me, that's like these like lovesick stories of like, she's in these relationships and she's still kind of being young. And then I just feel like she gets old. This is like the part where she just gets old.
Yeah.
Happens real fast.
In heart, spirit,
and body.
Mind and body. Yes.
So, and for a time, she'd have to close up her shop as well. Not because of money. It was because Milo was diagnosed with pernicious anemia. She had finally sought the help of a doctor after feeling like her legs were weighed down with lead and she could hardly lift them or walk or get out of bed. And pernicious anemia is basically caused by malnutrition. And Maila had to get regular B12 shots, stay hospitalized in a rehabilitation center for 15 weeks, and retrain herself to walk.
Damn.
She had nothing but time on her hands while she was bedridden, so she wrote poems like this one.
The patience of Job I must now elicit, to keep tidy this bed and try not to piss it.
So she's done as that's a humor. Her teeth, again, were not in a good state from the dearth of nutrition in her life. They were discolored and some of them were even falling out at this point.
Yikes.
As for the pernicious anemia, Sandra Niemi thinks that her condition was indeed caused by malnutrition, but also that displacing her organs by cinching her waist down to nothing probably didn't help her cause.
I'm going to say didn't move the needle in the positive direction.
Yeah, it just moved her organs around, which is, something you probably shouldn't do. Yeah, which is what happens during pregnancy, which is so weird. Your organs move around. Strange.
Gross.
Yeah. It was not a fun situation, of course. But there was one perk. Maila was now receiving disability income. So she had regular money coming in that she could rely on.
Okay.
Yep.
All it takes is your teeth falling out, your inability to walk. So she's getting some disability checks.
She's getting some disability
help from the government.
Yeah, as she limps along. And so out of this dim period came a bright one and a new alter ego for Maila.
Oh, a reinvention.
A reinvention. So we're not Elizabeth, the cleaning lady with her ringless toilets anymore.
No.
Now, her street, Melrose Ave, had become a bustle of outdoor markets and swap meets.
And still is.
It still is, yeah.
To this day.
And Maila joined in as an entirely new version of herself. She was known by other street vendors as Melrose Rose, the curator of crap with distinction.
Yes.
Her brand of crap in particular was thrifted clothes, and vendors and customers alike befriended her. Not for nothing, Maila had regulars at her table. Regulars like Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters.
Shelley Winters pops up again.
Yay.
She's in like every episode. She's our little Easter egg. We should this should be a drinking game. If Shelley Winters shows up in an episode, take a sip. and even Carol Burnett.
Nice.
Yeah, she was earning money and happier than she'd been in a long time. But the popularity of Melrose Ave had caused rents to spike. Of course.
Of course.
And Maila soon had to move over to the less desirable East Hollywood neighborhood, which I think is still less desirable now. That didn't really...
That also hasn't changed.
That hasn't changed either, yeah. She found a little Mexican restaurant in her new neighborhood and drank coffee there every day. I feel like she was that person. She had to find her place for her coffee every day. And when the owner of the shop, Hilda Alvarez, finally asked her name, she told her she was Helen Heaven. So another quiet alternate identity was born. Yeah.
Helen Heaven.
Helen Heaven. I love how I know she came up with that on the fly.
Oh,
she didn't think about that at all.
100%.
But she stuck to it. That woman knew her as Helen.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This is like you going into like clothing stores with a British accent and pretend like coming up with an entire job for yourself. You told me you did that and I wasn't even with you in person. I was so embarrassed.
First of all, it was when I was waiting tables and super bored. I didn't go into other establishments.
I pictured you like hunting through a clothing rack, just like making.
Maybe I have done that.
I feel like you
know.
did. I'm pretty sure that that didn't just come into my mind. You said that,
guys. I have an overactive imagination and I get bored very easily. Okay.
You're just an actor. Just call it what it is. You're just an actor
through and through,
who's
baby.
sometimes an annoying actor.
Sometimes. Most of the time.
Maila, or Helen, and Hilda became friends. And Maila,
cute.
Yeah, they were friends. She was like, she helped her clean up the restaurant for free meals, and she watched her children and became like a surrogate grandmother to them.
Oh my gosh!
English wasn't Hilda's first language, so she could like kind of help.
Facilitate.
And for the kids especially, like for that part of their schoolwork and stuff. So she was very helpful to them.
That's really sweet.
Yeah. And Marlon Brando was still in the picture.
Marlon Brando?
Yeah, he's still there. Hilda attests that she saw him come by and drop off checks for Maila. He had wanted to help her with living expenses, but also he was trying to make sure she could defend her intellectual property legally.
Wow.
Yeah, because Maila may have been ahead of her time in the creation of Vampira, but now the public was hungry for a little Vampira in their lives, and the exploitation of her intellectual property had begun, at least in Maila's eyes. She often told Marlon they were, quote,
picking my bones.
There was a movie that was released called Old Dracula with a character named Countess Vampira. And originally that movie was called Vampira, but then they were trying to like capitalize on other Dracula popularity. That film was just like let's ride the Grady train of some other shit. Yeah. And then the characters like kind of styled after her. They kept the name the same. And then the Addams Family TV show came out around this time. And Maila was convinced that the character of Morticia was based more off of Vampira than Chaz Adams' original creation. So, and we looked at pictures of that. It's like, yes, there wasn't like a bunch of cleavage and like the voluptuousness in the original comic. She was kind of like emaciated looking. But I don't know. I'm not sure what I think about that one, to be honest. It's weird. And I guess part of it is that I think I was familiar with Morticia in my head before being familiar with Vampire. So it's just a little backflip my brain is doing on that. I don't know.
I believe it 100%.
You believe it 100%? Yeah. Maila had tried to alter her vampire getup so as to create something new and different and not rip off Charles Addams' work. But the world of TV knows no such bounds. So they, definitely like they definitely ripped off some style notes from her at the very least. She also felt that Natasha, the spy cartoon from Rocky and Bullwinkle, was based off of her, and that Disney had used her likeness in Cruella de Vil. I don't know if I see Cruella de Vil, to be honest. I don't think I see that one.
No, just like the cheekbones, the emaciated thing, and like the cheekbones.
But I feel like Cruella de Vil is like, Maila's a very beautiful woman. I feel like Cruella de Vil is like emaciated in an ugly way, and like it looks like her nose is like she had a bad rhinoplasty.
Yeah, it's kind of like a piggy, like a weird piggy nose.
It's like very upturned, but in an ugly way. Yeah. So I don't know if I see that one. And that's a compliment to you, Maila.
That's right, baby.
Yeah. So anyway.
I can see the rocking bull, but I mean, Natasha, did she have red hair?
No, she had black hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
They couldn't even change the hair color?
Hold on, I'm going to look it up. Natasha.
Yeah. Why do I feel like she had red hair?
I think that was somebody
else. She had red outfit.
Yeah. No, she had black hair. Okay. I see it.
Yeah.
The eyebrows in particular.
The eyebrows.
And the face shape, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I see that one. That one's, I forgot what she looked like, to be honest with you. That's pretty close. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She kind of has like 1940s bangs that are different. But other than that, yeah. So interesting. Yes. But also it's like a weird thing because you know that like she took some inspiration from something and made something else out of it. And like, how is that any different?
Right.
You know what I mean? So
when is it inspiration? When is it
forgery or whatever?
Stealing.
Yeah. Soon her connection to Marlon sputtered out and so did his funding.
What happened?
I don't know. I think he just probably got distracted. He seems like that type of person.
Yeah.
Where he's like onto his
busy,
next little, either busy or thinking that, what did we talk about? Like that Albert Einstein was like talking to him from the grave. Like, you forgot about this part?
Yes, I did forget about this part.
Yeah. He like had a whole thing that he thought he was like telling him stuff from the grave.
Okay, bro.
Yeah. So I think he just,
had
a little distracted sometimes.
Okay.
Maila had no bed, no furniture except for plastic chairs and no electricity.
What?
So she was truly living in poverty. I mean, Marlon Brando, the money he was giving her was going towards her phone bill.
Okay.
And so she just didn't have a phone after he stopped giving her money.
Oh,
so he couldn't even like reach her.
Mm-hmm.
But she still had
no bed.
I know. I mean, maybe it's like a mattress at least, but they don't even say that. I don't know. So she still had cachet to some, In the late 70s and early 80s, punks were coming out of the woodwork. And
this is punk Vampira.
This is punk Vampira. We're coming. So in the late 70s and early 80s, punks were coming out of the woodwork, and Maila admired their free-spiritedness and their artistry. A punk musician named Tomata Duplanty was the front man. Yep. He was the front man for a band called the Screamers. And he met Maila in a parking lot in the neighborhood they both lived in and instantly befriended her.
Okay.
His punk ethos and artistic mindset resonated with Maila in every way. Tomata and his other musician friends checked on Maila regularly, made sure she had food, and became a pseudo-family to her.
Oh,
Isn't that cute?
It was like he was the mother hen.
Yeah.
And she was the duckling.
I think that's really, really sweet to be like, I'm like this counterculture or whatever, but I'm seeing this like woman this
old lady who I'm like who needs help.
But not even just that, like he gets along with her. Like they share wit. Like it said, they had similarities but he just took care of her. He saw somebody like that he really liked who needed taking care of, You
got to take care of the neighborhood freak.
Yeah, for sure. And I love that because I think, he's like, I'm a neighborhood freak too. Mm-hmm. Let's take care of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Her bud, Jack Simmons, had moved to Long Beach with his partner, Phil, but he still came around at times to call on Maila, like generally pretty regularly, actually, like once or twice a month, but sometimes she didn't even let him in. She was such an ass to Jack Simmons, which is funny, but he just kept coming. Good friend.
Mm-hmm.
So generally, her life became small, isolated, and quiet. But new interest in her reemerged when a book called The Golden Turkey Awards by Harry Medved named the Ed Wood film Plan 9 from Outer Space as the worst movie of all time. This resulted in some buzz and a screening of the film at the Vista Theater. Capitalizing on the moment, Maila sold Vampira t-shirts and sold them at the screening.
Hell yeah, girl.
Get it. Guests included Diane Keaton and Warren Beatty. And that screening proved to be the first time Maila actually watched the movie herself. It had been 24 years. She didn't give a fuck. She's just like, all right.
I love that.
Yeah.
Never saw this movie. Here's a t-shirt.
Yeah. I will profit off my likeness. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So she wore the t-shirts she made sometimes with her face on them. And she went from hiding behind her alter egos like her ringless toilet Elizabeth and Helen Heaven and Melrose Rose to owning her Vampira image again.
All right. Full circle.
Yeah. She did a short film called Bungalow Invader as a version of Vampira and was paid $350 for her efforts.
Okay.
Then in 1981, an article came out in the Los Angeles Magazine about the film, describing it as a silly romp through the many rooms of a Hollywood bungalow using many windows, much screaming, and burning candelabras.
Honestly, her brand.
Yeah, sounds great.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds like she was perfectly cast.
Yeah, no, I think that they were like, at this point, people were knowing who she was, even just from that movie. So they're like, all right, yeah, let's make something around you. That's kind of what I feel like happened with that. The current program director of KHJ TV, Walt Baker, read the article and set out on a quest to find Maila. She wasn't easy to find.
Yeah, she didn't have a phone.
But eventually she got the message that he wanted to meet with her. And 25 years after leaving the station, Maila walked back in.
Wow.
So this is the one where like she made the like bad snake rape joke.
Oh, yes. And got slowly canceled.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
And then now she's back there.
Wow.
Because they were looking for her. They wanted to do the horror host concept again. And Walt wanted Maila to play Vampira's mother.
Oh, God.
Yep. To which Maila responded,
"No, I'm afraid I couldn't do that. Vampira was born magically. She has no mother."
Perfect answer. Perfect response.
Beautiful.
Yeah. She's like, I have written her backstory
Bitch.
and it is 300 pages long. If you would like to see it. Maila suggested that she play other characters on the show from time to time, citing the Carol Burnett show as inspiration. But it's kind of like how she just lived through the world as an annoying actor.
Much like me.
Yeah, much like Marissa. But she said she could find a girl to play Vampira and train her.
Interesting.
Yes. When Walt asked how she'd find her, Maila suggested she would do a contest and choose someone who was innately self-absorbed, yet intelligent, with a great sense of timing.
Beautiful.
Yes. She demanded 6 weeks to train the girl, minimum.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted the after minimum for any time that she was asked to appear on the show as characters.
AFTRA was the union at the time.
Right.
So she wanted
Union
rates,
minimum, yeah.
baby.
And she wanted $400 for each episode for the use of her character Vampira.
Yes.
But then this is where I feel like she was a little flawed in coming up with this plan.
Okay.
Personally, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but she said that she would pay the new host out of this $400.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, Maila.
Like, why would you? Let them pay the new host. Let's just leave.
How did they even agree to this? She's not.
This is just her. This is her brainstorming, coming up with what would be good for her.
Okay, because she can't do that. She's not her employer.
Yeah, it's weird. That was a weird one.
All right. So this did not happen.
No, that didn't happen.
Okay.
She also wanted to write the scripts. Walt wanted the show to air twice a weekend on Saturday at 6 and on Sunday at 4, which are like primetime spots.
Yeah.
And Maila was told she would be an associate writer and producer. So she was really hopeful about this.
That sounds good.
Yeah, this sounds like really
kind
great.
of too good to be true.
Yeah. So they had plans to have a contest to be judged by Maila and the producers, where each girl would do their own costume and makeup and then do an on-air audition.
Whoa.
Yeah. But then they decided not to have a contest and to do an audition instead.
Well, what is an audition but a contest?
It's very true. I mean, like, it's more just like, are you airing it or not? And I guess they're like, we won't air it.
We won't air it because they probably just got into like so much red tape.
Yeah. And also, it doesn't sound, it sounds
just
boring because you listen to the same people say the same thing over and over again, because that's really what an audition
right.
is. So,
yeah.
But then they decided not to have a contest and to do an audition instead. But Maila was told she could still be present for the auditions. Mm-hmm. She was also told that they really did need her to be present as the new Vampira's mother on the episodes. And on that point, Maila actually compromised.
Okay.
She said, okay, fine, she's born magically, but fine. Her compromise was that she would be on the phone. That she wouldn't appear. She would just be on the phone as a voice.
Oh. Cute.
So that's what she said.
I like that.
She's like, yeah, I could be, because in her head, she's probably like, I am her magical mother who is actually made of stardust and sand and the ashes of the evil.
The evil.
Yeah, the evil.
And I have figured out how to use the phone.
How to use the phone.
How to use the phone.
Exactly. I'm speaking through the phone. I feel like there's some sort of Twilight episode about like a ghost calling.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm. But
But
none of that actually played out. What actually happened was they brought Maila in and told her they'd found the girl.
okay.
She was there. Whatever audition happened, she was not there for it. And her name was Cassandra Peterson. But the kicker was that they had promised Cassandra Vampira merchandising rights as part of her contract.
No.
Which is a pretty big slap in the face. They even went over Maila's head on conceptualizing the costume and creating and writing the script. And now they wanted Maila to sign all of this into being. And Maila refused. And in doing so, she invalidated the entire contract.
That's right.
And Walt Baker told her,
If you don't sign it within 24 hours, we'll go with another format.
yeah, now he has 8 chins, and I wasn't picturing him that way before. I am now. Maila said,
Go fuck yourself.
And walked out.
That's right.
Baker denied in an article in Fangoria magazine, stupid, that Maila would have never been allowed to audition and train the new horror hostess. He said all he wanted from Maila were the rights to use the character Vampira. Since she didn't allow him to have them in the end, he came up with a new name for the character, and that name was Elvira. Yep. So now this is where this comes in. And it pained Maila greatly to see the success that came from that show. She wrote in her journal,
Now, as I count pennies for each can of tomato soup, the world has come to believe that the word vampira is in the dictionary, that it is the female word for the male vampire. They believe that Vampira herself is in public domain and lift my product. This is America. Where then is the pauper's attorney?
She tried to speak out, but it was hard without any money. She put flyers on cars about this. She even wrote a line in the personal ads of the newspaper that read,
All who resent Elvira's brazen thievery, write to Vampira, 723 North Heliotrope. I know where that is.
Do you?
It's in a shitty part of town.
Okay.
Heliotrope.
So it's still shitty.
It's still shitty.
I think it's funny that she's like complaining all the time though about like everyone's trying to find me, and now she's like, this is my address.
That's right. Write me if you're as outraged as I am.
Find me. Maila hated her with a passion and said that Elvira acted like
a stripper in a basement of an Elks Club.
Whatever that means.
What does that mean?
I don't know. She wrote a letter that was published in an issue of LA Weekly, signed Vampira. It read,
Dear Editor, 3 jeers. To laugh out loud when alone is, psychologists declare, a sign of madness. Knowing this, I was nonetheless guffawing aloud, some supremely unvampire-like guffaws as I rollicked through the best of the worst. And lo, fathom my delight to come upon, while in this sublime state, your selection of the most disappointing cleavage. Elvira interrupts the dark, mistress of the mediocre. Now jubilant, as well as rollicking, I hastily poison-penned an ode to this same odious Vampira. You, darling, you guessed it, some bad blood lies between those lovely vampire ladies. Sincerely and hatefully, your abhorring fan. Beach balls made of silicone, sneering, drowning monotone. Of such things the maid is fashioned, then of smugness add a dash and. Watch the silly slattern slut pull her punches preen and strut for Vampira's private ingrates. Satan's puppet proudly gyrates. And what will new tomorrows bring? More of this disgusting thing. Deeper necklines, pubic hair. Don't you wish that you were there? The above is my literary opinion. Print it if you like. I take full responsibility. Let her try to touch my Transylvania bank account. Signed, Vampira.
I love it.
Damn!
I love that they printed it.
They printed it.
She's basically like, look, I'm just going to use the power of my pen. Because at this point, it's all about revenge for her. Not even the money in this one. I mean, it is, but it's not. But it is, but it's not. But it is.
But it is.
Yeah. So Maila became depressed and practically suicidal after all of this. She locked herself in her apartment and she wouldn't come out until some punk singers in a group called the Misfits came to pay her a visit.
Oh, just the Misfits?
Yeah.
Whoa.
They were releasing their very first LP with Vinyl Fetish Records. So on brand, all of it.
Wow.
And they had written a song on it called Vampira for her.
Oh.
Yeah. And they wanted Maila to attend their record deal signing. So she was touched and obliged, putting on her whole getup for the event.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She soon became a grandmother to the punks in the neighborhood, and their desire to challenge the world with their art made them kindred spirits. And Tamada DePlenty, who we already knew was looking out for her, he came around many times, like we said, to make sure Maila was fed and that her spirits were lifted. And he arranged for her to make money doing a series of monologues as a new character, Honey Gulper, at a place called the Anti Club. Honey's backstory. This is Maila's latest character.
Please give it to us.
Honey's backstory was that she had come to Los Angeles from Arkansas with big dreams, but had had many unfortunate cosmetic surgeries and now is just stuck with her memories.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
That's really, really funny.
And the monologues apparently got really good reviews from LA Weekly, LA Reader, and Los Angeles Times.
Well, and the Times.
Yes.
Wow.
So she's really, like still making headlines,
wow.
You know. And she also expressed herself artistically with yet another punk band called Satan's Cheerleaders. They asked her to perform some songs with them on their album. She didn't sing so much as proselytize, performing the sermon from a discarded flyer over their music. The songs were called I'm Damned and Genocide Utopia. And according to one band member, the record turned out to be our Louie Louie, which I think is just like, it was like our hit.
Wow.
So I feel like I kind of want to play a part of this. Okay, so let's do Genocide Utopia.
Genocide is the utopia for the Vatican Antichrist and all of his helpers, wicked men in high places.
Oops, wrong.
That's her?
Where in the Bible does it tell you not to speak out against the Antichrist, against wicked presidents, kings, nations, and false religious leaders, false prophets? And where
This rings true for today.
She's just reading a flyer.
Jesus doesn't speak of hate. Jesus speaks only of love.
She's like just reading a flyer.
Love it.
How long, O Lord, holy and true, dost thou not judge and avenge our blood on them?
It's really cool.
Ah.
I feel like that's so cool. And at that
That's
point in
so
time,
cool.
okay, so she was born in like the 20s. Like, so then that would be 30. She's 10.
60s. She's in her 60s at
Yeah.
this point.
So she's like,
Cool.
she's doing this in her 60s, which
That's
is
so
pretty
cool.
pretty rad.
That's so punk.
It is. It's
So
awesome.
punk rock.
And I love that like they were courting her, all of these
Yeah.
people to do stuff with them.
Yeah.
So it's just they really respected. I think she was early counterculture, and they're like, we're
100%.
current. Yeah, they're like, we're current counterculture, and like bow down, respect.
Yeah.
Like, if you do anything with us,
Yeah.
like it's such a boon.
Right.
So
We see you, you see us.
Yeah. So I think that that's really, really rad.
Cool.
Really cool thing she did. But Maila was still, at this point in time, licking her wounds from the Elvira situation.
Mm-hmm.
So she finally got the gumption to put together a lawsuit. She claimed that the series had used her identity, character, and sets without obtaining her permission. The red velvet couch was the same on both shows. The low-cut, tattered black dress was the same. The voluptuous figure, candelabras, lighting, and skulls.
Everything. The name was barely not the same.
It was very thinly veiled.
Yeah.
On the first day of filming, actually, of the show, and she had like documentation of this because she had like the original.
Girl. She had the receipts.
Yeah. And on the first day of filming, the show was still called The Vampira Show because they hadn't come up with a new name yet.
Oh my God.
So it's like, but the judge, and I'm like glossing over some of this legality stuff, but the judge did not rule in Maila's favor.
No.
He did not. According to him, a likeness is an actual representation of a person, not a close resemblance, which was basically the argument that the lawyers on the other side made, and he bought into it.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, so that
just allowed them to steal from her.
Yeah, and he hinted that Maila could still sue for trademark infringement, but she was too wounded and distrustful at this point and broke to attempt that. So she continued to just lead a quiet life.
Fuck that.
I know it
fuck
really
that.
fucking sucks.
You know, oh, that makes me so mad that to be able to get justice, a lot of the time you have to have money.
Yeah, no, you do. You really do. You really do.
Yeah, it's so frustrating.
It's really stupid.
I'm so sad for her.
I know.
Mad and sad for her.
I know.
Justice for Maila.
Justice for Maila.
Justice for Vampira.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. It's weird. Like, I don't know what to think about Elvira after all of this, because it's like part of it is like studio execs and stuff, but it's just like also, I don't know. It's icky. She's implicated icky. For sure. And she's the one taking all the money. Like, good Lord. So Maila, you know, she's leading her quiet life. She had dogs now rather than cats. She reconnected with her niece Sandra a bit. I didn't talk about this part, but she, like, when she hung out with them for the first time, like, her 13-year-old grandniece came, like Sandra's daughter, and she was being like kind of like a little brat because they were like going thrifting for school clothes, and she was like, oh, I don't want this, I want to go to the mall. And she was like, you're a little bitch, and she just like told her
punk to the end.
Yeah, she's like, you're a little bitch. But in the end, Maila died alone in her apartment, sitting in a plastic chair in her underwear. Her pants that she'd taken off to hand wash were draped over a chair beside her, and her tiny TV was on. Her dog was hungry.
Aww.
Her neighbor Hilda is the person who found her. And after her death, the Vampira intellectual property that she had defended so fiercely was snatched up by the first person who could grab it, and her family doesn't make any money off of it. So even though she defended it so much through her life, she didn't really set it up into a will or something that would exist after her life ended. So it just was, it sucks because it was like all for naught.
Yeah.
You know?
Jeez.
But money was pooled together by the people who loved her to make sure she found her final resting place at Hollywood Forever. That's why we're talking about her now. And
I'm crying.
It's really sad.
I'm actually really crying.
Yeah, it's really sad. And she lies there now for all to come and visit. And I was getting emotional right at the end of this too, because, you know, we always suggest an offering for people. And I think you should go see Maila if you have a chance. Go see her. Yes. Go sit by her. Her grave is the kind that we always get the grave terms wrong. Again, somebody write in and tell me what I'm saying that's wrong, because I never look it up in real time. But like the kind that are flat on the ground, okay, right, is the kind of grave she has. So it's like you can go sit right there with her. You can just sit right there, smoke a joint, you know, like she used to do with her graveyard buddies back in the day with James Dean and Jack Simmons. Crack a joke about being a grave robber from outer space. You know, go talk to her. That's what I feel like you should do. Just go sit and talk to her and tell her that you appreciate what she did and what she created. because I think that that's the best thing that we could all leave her, because it's just like
some company and some thanks.
Yeah, and some thanks, because she worked really hard to create in her life, and also just like made her life all about creating things. And she got like really beaten up about it a lot, and she created things people wanted, and that's what sucks, is like she did have that ability, and it just never benefited her, and she suffered a lot, you know. But I think like truly, like when you were asking about this before, because you're like, where does she end up, what happens, whatever, a couple episodes back, it's like she is somebody who I feel like she never lost her artist perspective.
Ever.
And it's like she still did have respect from it. I love the punks in this story. I love the punks in this story so much for never letting her forget that she was an artist, and making sure
for never letting her forget that she was a punk. Yeah,
that she was a punk, that she was respected, and that she was an artist, and that people wanted to see her. You know, because
and hear her.
Yeah. And I think that like, that's beautiful to me. I just like, I love that. I love every part of that. But what's hitting you the most, Marissa? Because you're getting emotional.
I'm really tired.
It's very late.
It's very late, but you know, it's just like, I feel like she just got taken advantage of her whole life.
Yeah.
Like personally, through her art. And like I said this like a few episodes back, but I was like, where are her female friends? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was one friend I didn't mention because it was like a blip that I almost did just because I wanted to bring it up. But like it was like after she got out of the rehabilitation center, a friend who like they drove to like Vegas together and stuff. And so like it was like trying to, you know, but it was somebody from her like cheesecake modeling days, you know, like a long ago friend. But that's nice, you know, like but they still weren't the people who were like consistently there.
Right. It's just like, I don't know. It makes me so mad, and when I get really, really mad, I cry, and I'm so mad on her behalf.
Yeah, and it also just, you know, it doesn't. I think the saddest thing is like she just didn't have anything. She didn't have anything. She had like plastic chairs in her apartment, and she died in that plastic chair. I hate that. I hate that for her. She deserved to die on a red velvet couch with smoke all around it, and a bunch of candelabras, and like and you know, like just the most gothic elegance all around her. Yeah. And I hope that that's where you are right now, Maila. I really do. I hope that you are surrounded by all of the gothic the gothic elegance that you deserve, and I hope that you have an audience who gives you a standing O every day.
Every night.
And every night. Yeah.
And you're lounging in your velvet fainting couch.
Yes, exactly.
Giving us all hell.
That's right. So I don't know. Cheers to the woman who got away with making an orgasm joke night after night on television in the freaking mid-50s.
Jeez.
That's crazy. That in and of itself is a life accomplishment.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
So, Maila, we love you.
We love you so much.
We're going to go do a visit soon.
Yeah.
We're due for a visit to go sit with her and do that, because mad respect. I just think, like, to me, like this would be a revolutionary woman today.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
it was like she was never afraid to be herself, and she stood by herself and her creations to the point where it was detrimental at some points, you know?
And because it's like you could have easily bent in any of these areas and she might have profited more from it. And because that's how this town works. And it sucks. And I feel like she wasn't, you know, she's too pure of an artist for that kind of game. And so it wasn't going to work for her. But like when you're a performer, like what else do you do? So,
God, it's rough out there.
It's rough out there.
And it's always been rough out there. in these Hollywood streets.
Yep. But thank you, Maila, for paving the way for all of the goths out here, for the glamorous goths and ghouls in this world. Because we know you were Mother. We know. Yeah, we know. And now so many more people know. So yeah, write us, honestly, write us some like dedications. I think that's a good idea. Why don't you guys write us some dedications that we can read for when we go visit Vampira?
Yeah.
Because we haven't done it yet. So if you have anything you want to say to her, any notes, anything you want us to, to gift or any ideas for that, please leave comments in our Apple Podcast reviews. Let us know what you think of the show too.
Yeah, we will gladly go do that.
Yeah, for sure. So please do that, and then we'll film it, and so you guys can see it. But
and dress up.
Yeah. Yes, we're going to be so gothed out. I love it. Marissa's really good at doing makeup, actually, so that would be pretty sick.
Dead and Kind of Famous is written, researched, and produced by Courtney Blomquist. It is co-hosted by Marissa Rivera. We tag team on socials. Jesse Russell and Courtney Blomquist do our editing.
If we piqued your curiosity and you enjoyed the show, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and follow us, subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. We love you.
Love you to bits.
Until next time, remember, you may not be famous, but you got a story to tell.
And you ain't dead yet.
Bye.
Bye.